There we go. Look how pretty it is. And things are starting to bloom, even the weeds. Okay, anyway, we'll go out in the village. So I saw some of you, I mean, I'm late putting up a link, but some of you guys are so early, I'm impressed. Let's see. Oh, there's even more of you woken up here. James is here. He's working on a billum bag. Billum braiding. That'll be interesting to, I was going to say, is that like the braiding that goes around the billum, or is that another name for billum style Nalbinding? I have to check. And I saw Audra was here. It's been officially 3 years since she first came to the village. It seems like forever, actually. But yeah, I remember she came out here her first time to celebrate her 50th birthday, which I always thought was extra fun because I was also turning 50 that year, and I couldn't have thought of a better way to come out and visit it. But apparently that birthday went so well, she keeps coming back. We like it. Albert's here. Nella's here. Nella, there was a lady in the international group chat, Nalbinding one, looking for someone who could teach her in the end of May how to needle bind. So hopefully she can find you. I gave her your YouTube. Roger's here he's looking for traditional Viking helmets with horns. Oh, perfect. We'll get Karl. Susan is here from Adirondacks. Garcia's back from her holiday in Cornwall, England. That sounds like a fun holiday. Raymond's got the matchsticks. He's from upside down Perth. I think, and he's having 19 degrees. Okay, I think we're pretty similar today. If it's 23 in Holland, we're looking at anywhere between 17 to 25 for the next week here. Degrees Celsius, by the way, for Roger, the one in the America. He's been using some of his mom's mohair yarn to make a scarf Raymond has. I saw pictures. I think that's an awesome way to celebrate mom. And how do you like working with mohair? Pruda went to Volin. It was amazing, and now just wants to find out how to become a Freeman there. Clutch the pearls. Are you going to go somewhere else other than this beautiful place? Beat that, Volin. Fine, I can share. Torben is here. He says, hello from Farm de Lulu. Here we have sunny weather and Saturday snacks. Laban Simon is the best. This will slowly evolve into a P&G and Ghost's new album. I think I want to see that, especially with the Simon. And are you using the sour ones? Simon are little gummy figures. They look like people. And for a while, the women were anatomically correct with boobs. Maybe they had a crotch. It depends on how you ate them. That sounded really bad. Max is here. Welcome back. And Albert says, how do you like the new Ghost album, Torben? I have to check that one out, actually. Robin's here from California. Roger is not alone over there in Huntington Beach. Torben says he doesn't know about the ghost one yet. Has to put the first demons in their enclosures first. Oh, the kids. Heidi Liset is here. Hi, fra endelig sol i Trøndelag. So you got sun too, up in the north. Robert Reynolds is here from Glasgow. Ridiculously sunny there as well. Okay, global warming is the thing today, I guess. Global warming is the thing today. Raymond says the mohair is very different. It takes a lot of patience. The results are amazing though. Not for kids! Yeah, what can I say? So look, we have a tent going in. Luli has returned to us. She's one of the tattoo artists that likes to come here. And she's here most of the time though, because she got in early. And now we can only have one tattoo artist in the village at a time. So she's very fortunate to have secured that spot early on. I see somebody's been felting. It's a Karl. I have a microphone for you. Karl has no hands. Look at him. He's ready for a party, apparently. You got a cup and a beer, and you have another one. Did you bring something to polish your wand? He's going to polish his rod for us, by the way.
Yeah, I need something to carry water in, but...
Yeah? We're going to have to check your microphone a little bit better because it will pick you up, but not very well at this rate. There you go. Beautiful. Well, we should sit. Where should we sit? Do you want to sit up top? We always sit in the same spot down there. It gets kind of boring.
Benches everywhere, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Let's sit up on the top for a little bit. There's the Oftentimes, so last week we were sitting in that green building, and oftentimes we are just down that path and to the right. That's where the archery is. Then axe throwing is down that way, if you're trying to get acquainted. Okay, let's go sit up here. Look how pretty! And the waterfalls are going. You can sit in the new pit house. Is it dark in there though, I suppose? Nah, we gotta sit outside. It's too nice. We can make sacrifices to the gods. How much beer do you want to drink to them? We never sit on the sacrificial altar. Well, we don't really sacrifice anything there. We just do little ceremonies every now and then for those who are interested in ceremonies. But we are religiously and politically neutral, so that's up to everyone. If you're plant dying, the dandelions are in full force. Although I found out from Sally Pointer's class we can make cordage out of those, so I should do that. So should we sit over here? This look like a, maybe we sit on the little drum chairs. Ah, screw it, we sit here.
You want to sit on the altar?
I'm not gonna sit on the altar, I'm gonna put this down on the altar and sit in front of it. Let's see, there you go. Little inspiration for people. You want to sit here? I should have brought something to sit on, but screw it. The ground is not too wet. So we have a lot of people here already. They're quick.
Did you manage to arrange transportation back home?
Yep, they're gonna come at 8 o'clock, so if we go over time, it's not too bad. I mean, Raymond won't mind. He's got matchsticks and all. If we have to keep him up late. And then, let's see. There you can see the gods in the background. We've got some new ones. Some old. Oh yeah, Freya's new. Oops, sorry.
Well, her head is new at least.
Her head is new. I don't know what happened. I think she rotted. Poor Freya. Let's see if I can get. Ah! Everything moves opposite. There we go. It's easier to zoom it is than to get up. Who made that one? That was made when you and I were in England.
It's one of the Polish guys.
He did a really good job.
I'm thinking Isaac, but I'm not sure.
I'm thinking poor Frey, you know, is it, yeah, it's Frey next to him, you can tell because he's very happy to see you. He looks slightly pale compared to Freya. Freya is so bright and new. Not for kids! Yes, but yes, there you go. Freya is very happy to see you. All of them. Going to hell. Okay, come sit down with me, Karl. You got oh, you're not gonna sit down. You're gonna light up instead. Okay, fine. We talk needle binding. Well, Karl does his thing. I'm not very Viking today. I apologize. I've been doing office work. It's the stuff to catch up on. Arboga Stitch, for those who are here for needle binding. This is the Arboga Stitch. I would think this yarn is a little on the thick side for this stitch, but wow, if you want a nice dense fabric, it's a good way to go. I got a little fuzzball in there. Oh no, that's where I tied in my yarn. Okay. Anyway, these were going to be wrist warmers. I have not done anything really since last week. But this, yeah, like I said, I think the yarn is a little too thick for it, but it will work. But you could definitely go with a thinner yarn and it would still be dense enough. Okay, and then I need a needle. Let's see. This one might be too big today because it opens, if the needle is bigger than your stitches, it will open them up. It'll stretch out all your stitches. So I'm going to see if I have the other one with me today. It'll work otherwise. Let's see, not there. It's in my bag. My bag ate it. Maybe I didn't bring it.
I'm going to go and get some water for the knob polishing project.
Okay, you want to leave the microphone or do you want to take it with you? To polish your knob and get some water. Hand me your knob. Oh, I found the needle. I put it on the table. Okay. Altar, whatever. This is Karl's knob that he wants to polish today. What did you think, you sick people? Okay. Anyhow, I don't know, we got a whole bunch of these, I think in 2020, and I think they were over ordered. I think they were going to do really, really well because they are Odin. Isn't lotion better for knob work? No, we're going to use the steel wool on that stuff, Torben. He's a Viking. But actually, these come kind of like blackened so that they look more like the find, but Karl thinks they should be made to look like they would have when they were new. But he made a staff out of these because we had so many of them to try with. This is the whole stash. He put some bells on so we can hear him when he's coming and going. He put a couple of gods on there. He's got the weapons dancer, which is Odin again. And this one, we have no idea what he is, but he's a god of some sort. And made a whole staff. Anyway, so we had about 1 million of these things for the last couple of years. Then Karl makes a staff out of it, and suddenly we have to order more. So he's going to polish his knob, as he says. He thinks it would make a great weapon as well as a staff because it's probably kind of comfortable to hold, but also it would hurt. Well, age age has its effect on sensitivity, obviously. I do not look at the men crossing their legs and wincing over there. Max says, so recently I've been practicing tapestry crochet, and I find this technique very relaxing in the same way of Nalbinding and slip stitch. I gotta say, I really like tapestry crochet. It allows you to do color work and make patterns. You see a lot of it in Latin America, actually, too. But you can make some really cool bags with patterns of zigzags and diamond shapes and all kinds of things. Okay, so I found my needle. I'm going to use this one. Let's see. Okay, and we need to splice out some more wool. This is plant dyed with madder, or krop for you Norwegians. Audra sent me a message about plant dyes that she was using and a beautiful picture of way too much plant dyeing. I'm absolutely impressed. She's making the rest of the world look bad. Holy crap, this is strong. Holy man. Anyhow, and then she was listing off all the plant fibers she used, and the last one she says, oh crap! I almost forgot crap. And then, I read that as like, the American would. Oh crap! So that was fun. Okay, got to splice on some new. This is 100% wool. So it can spit splice. The wizard staff had a knob at the end. Okay, so we're gonna make these two yarns get very well acquainted. They're going to be doing some French kissing. See? And then we'll add some spit. You don't have to see that part. And rub. And it will become one thread, but have to use some serious aggression. If you have some rage, this is a good way to go. If your splice is too thick, you can always pull out some of the wool or some of the thickness of the wool before splicing. Okay. So Arboga Stitch is a turning stitch. It is, if you were going to write it with numbers, it would be 1 plus TL, which means for turning loop, plus 1. And the O's and the U's, I have no idea. Somebody's got to put that in chat. Okay. So you have 1 on your thumb. Actually, you're going to be working from the last 3 loops. 1, 2, and it's hard to see. This is the 3rd one. But you are picking it up here. So 1 loop, 2 loop, and this is where the 3rd one, if I pull it, you'll see it hits. Okay, so 1 on the loop. This is Orange Yard for Kenny McCormick Hoodie from South Park. Yes, it is. Kenny, you killed Kenny. Oh my God, you killed Kenny. Prudence Pratchett fan as well then. Oh yeah, you're in the right group of people here. Okay, so 1 on your thumb and you're going to do 2 from the back. But again, because the 2nd loop will be turned, it kind of looks like this when it becomes the 3rd loop. But that, if you're not sure where to grab that 3rd loop, it's here, not there, but on the right. So F1 I went with, means 1 new loop from the front. Then you pick up the 2nd loop from behind, essentially twisting it. That's where it's a turning loop. And then you pick up that one I showed you on the right there. And then you go under your thumb loop and under your leader yarn and pull through, and that is it. Because I have such a thick yarn, I cannot pull this too tightly to my thumb, or I will have a hot pad, basically. It's that thick. So F1, take the second loop from behind, twist and pick up the third loop, which is on, there's like 2 bumps. It's the one on the right. And then underneath the thumb loop and the leader yarn. And that is Arboga. If you've seen Karl's blue hat that he wears a lot, that I made for him, that is an Arboga Stitch hat, but that is done with Malabrigo yarn, which is a beautiful, beautiful yarn. So this is my splice. I think it's a little thick, so I'm going to needle tension this one a little bit to kind of reduce some of the thickness on that. That sounds Karl. The sounds Karl makes when doing steel wool is in his knob. Ooh. That's that's probably the best description of the under, over, over, under, whatever. So what's the most common, where the weird food combo in most common thing in Norway? In my opinion, but we have to ask the Norwegian over here. I would think anything you put that mackerel and tomato sauce on it. I mean, you guys even nickname that plane crash or roadkill. Mackerel i tomatsauce. Yeah, but don't you also call that one flygcrash, which means plane crash? Or is it just my ex?
Probably kids call it that.
Yeah, my ex is a kid. Well, he's the same age as you. He's from the Oslo area, so maybe that was something they did. Okay, one more time. F1, one connecting one new one from the front. So that's F1. If you want it more dense, you can do F2. But we're going to do F1. Second loop from behind. Twist it back and pick up the third loop. And then under the thumb loop and under the leader yarn. I'm still going through a splice there, so it's kind of hard to see. I'll do one more without. There. It was a little dense there from the thickness of my join. I should have maybe thinned it a bit. But there you can see this is first loop, second loop, and like I said, the third loop looks kind of like 2 bumps. Pick the bump on the right. Then you'll get the stitch, no problem. A lot of times in the videos you can't see what's going on behind the thumb. But that's the trick to that stitch. So there you go. I'm going to keep doing this while we chat today. We can even walk around a bit more. But Karl wants to look at those wonderful orthopedic shoes my mom got me. Am I getting old or what? They work. I love them. I don't care if I look like I'm wearing snowshoes. Okay. And I found a Karl. At least the light is good outside today and I can actually see the stitches. Yeah, no, last week we were in the Chieftain Hall. It was dark. It's always dark in the Chieftain Hall. So I linked a video on my Facebook page. Yes, thank you for the friend request. If I haven't met you, I'm not going to add you because my kids' pictures are on there and stuff. But everything Gudvangen related is public. So one of the most recent posts I put obviously is this one, but the one right before that was a video of this Norwegian girl who was trying herself out at van life and pulls up to it must have been within the last week though, and takes a guided tour. And oh my God, she definitely sounds like she was born on this side of 2000, but it's actually really funny and quite hilarious to watch. She's got a lot of charm to her, but you got to see that video. And you can see Greg doing part of his tour. But we can't see you and you can't see me. As I was in the office, I don't know where the heck you were. They were in the shop for a little bit and she's like, oh my God, I got to get some merch. Okay, talk about your knob, Karl.
Well, we do sell these in the store. But the way we sell them, they are
To catch up on chat
dark brown in color. Because people seem to have this idea in their head that if something is based on a find, it should look like the find looks now. Not what it probably looked like 1,000 years ago. So the first thing I did when I bought it was to polish the hell out of it.
He polished his knob.
This is, I don't know if you can see it clearly.
Yeah. There you go. Go ahead.
You notice the eyes are different. So it's most likely a representation of Odin.
Why are the eyes different on Odin, for those who don't know? Viking for beginners.
Yeah, they have to know that.
No. Pretend they're like me. And
But you know that.
Yeah.
Please tell me you know that.
That's right. Because he has fake eyelashes on one of his eye and not on the other because one day he was feeling a little bit more Instagram ready than the other one. No? Am I wrong? The look on your... No? It wasn't fake eyelashes for Instagram?
Well, if any of you genuinely don't know that, Google Mimers well.
Memers, well, M-I-M-I-R.
But it was, at least, unless my memory is mistaken,
Yeah.
it was a lot more shiny right after I polished it. So now I'm going to do the same thing again. And I'm using steel wool with soap in it.
I'm sorry, Torben, look away while you... We were doing knob jokes before you got here, all about whether or not steel wool was a good thing to polish your knob with.
Well, that very much depends on your knob.
We're starting out at the bottom of the bucket today, guys. I'm so sorry. So you're using svint, which the Norwegians will know what that is, S-V-I-N-T. But it's basically steel wool with a bit of soap in it that you can buy in the shop in a little yellow box. See, they're laughing. They know.
I should have brought Vaseline or some kind of oil, because when I know I'm done, it will start to oxidize almost immediately if I don't protect it.
All right, everybody, this is a close-up of Karl polishing his knob and not using lotion or oil. I'm so sorry. We got a lot of laughs today, Karl. That's it, boy, get in there. Just can't help myself. Told you, Vaseline. Vaseline says Audra. Torben says, told you. Laugh out loud. I have no more good thoughts in my head. And you're making fun of the way, all the innuendos I say when talking about needle binding. But meanwhile, you and your knob
what
over there.
What I am making fun of when it comes to you and needle binding is that you can't hear the innuendos yourself.
Mm. How do you change the direction with this stitch? Do you mean like to turn and go back the other way? That would be working like if you were gonna go, like try to work a flat piece where you go like, it depends if you turn it like a typewriter, or if you go one way and then turn the work and go back the other way, or you go one way and then typewriter it. I think I would have to turn it and go back. Yes, in the flat. Okay, I'll have to try that one. I haven't tried that. But I'd show you how I approach it. Doesn't mean it's necessarily the right way to do it, but we're Karl's really getting into it there. This is just so wrong, says Robert.
I think I can already see quite a lot of effect.
Yeah. So can I. Wait for the ending, says Roger. Oh my God, there's no pure thoughts in this group whatsoever. Not for kids. Look at even Karl, I think he's blushing, but it's actually probably sunburn. It's already white, says Albert. I think the men are getting scared. Yeah, where's your microphone on you, by the way? I need to move that up a little bit.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, okay, so you've got it, so you can see. Okay. Happy ending, says Audra. Well, we'll see if Odin's happy or not when he's done. It's already white. All right, you just keep polishing your knob over there, and I'll try to turn this stitch. We ran out of new beer to taste, so Karl's having the Belgian beer today, Duvel. Popular one for him. Let it rest, you'll last longer, says Torben, and Pruda sends you an eggplant and some raindrops. Okay, how would I turn this stitch? There was a question for Karl, by the way, which I got to get to in a minute. If you have more questions for Karl, he absolutely loves Viking questions. So, I mean, if you ask him some nice questions while he's over there happily polishing his knob, it could get some really good results. Okay. And did the staffs double in length, by the way, Karl? Roger wants to know. There are so many ways we could continue this one. Oh my God. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Now if I was going to turn this, I would do 2 loose loops, maybe 3, because you have to make the row height up before you turn. So a loose loop would be not connecting to the previous row. So in this case, let's see, just one. And that noise. Your microphone's definitely working over there, Karl. Okay, so I did one, and then let's do one more. Two, and then I would see if that's like row height enough to compensate for a turn. It looks like it would, because now I'm going to turn it around and go the other way. So now that I have two loose ones, it's back on. You kind of have to disconnect this a little bit. So this is where my thumb would have been, because you have to kind of force the other way. It's going to be too tricky to work in the first loop. But remember, I grew two, so 1, 2, I would connect in this one. This was the last stitch I did that was connected to the previous row. So I chained 2, so to speak. So I would work in that one. But now here's the tricky part. How would I work that in reverse? You have to, I think, force this to be your first loop maybe, and this to be your second loop. I have no third loop that I can grab from. So I think I would just maybe force it around. Let's see. No, I don't like that way. Maybe do one more. I have to think about this one. I haven't really tried that before because it's so much easier to just work in a tube and cut it for a straight edge. I would need 3 to go with. No, I'm going to do one more loose one. Okay, so one more. You're watching my brain work. Let's do one more. Okay, so now I have 3 chains. I should have enough loops to work with. Make this maybe my first one, second, and third, or... Yeah, I think so. We could try it like that, just see. It might just be really loose on the end. So that would be like my first one, that would be on my thumb. Or no, that would be on my thumb. So then we have to go behind the second one, pick up the third, pretending that one was on my thumb, and then under the leader yard, and then hopefully everything lines up for this next stitch. You kind of just have to play and see what works best. So there's 1, and then I have 2, and I'm going to call that one my third, but I'm not necessarily sure. Whatever you do, do it the same every time. I'm curious
to see what my knob looks like now before it oxidizes again.
We don't want to oxidize your knob for YouTube. Let's see, wait a minute. It's not going up. The camera does not want it to go up. Now I can't sting it to sticker because that will be illegal. Is that what you said? Look how shiny and happy his knob is, and look how shiny and relaxed Karl looks. Was it good for you too, Karl, says Torben?
Yeah, no, I have a shiny knob, so I'm very happy.
Do you have a beer to go with your shiny knob? Can we see a closer look at your knob? Okay.
The first time you said that on camera.
Yeah, it's the only time I'm going to say that too. Look how nice and happy it is. And Roger says, have you thought about monetizing Karl's handiwork wood polishing on a paid adult site? Oh, we could only fan this guy. You know. Now wax it, by the way. Raymond says wax it now. And yeah, Albert was mentioning you can also use beeswax on it. I got to read some of these comments, by the way, while you pour yourself a beer here. And then we'll get back to whatever I was doing over on the yarn. Let's see. Got to get the gimbal to play with me. The Viking way of opening a beer. He's speeding up towards the end, apparently, said Torben. Of course, we're reading this backwards now, so things will only get a little bit more disappointing. Albert said, I found a Doritos, flamin' hot. It's good, but I don't see how the Americans can eat a 700-gram bag of this in one sitting, and probably not while polishing your knob either, because it's flaming hot. Brutus said, I'm going to go back to that one, actually. No, it's cold outside. Oh, because that's why Roger was asking if the staff doubled in length, and Outer said no, because it's cold inside. The Raymond said, I don't remember this part of Odin's story. Comments are the best. Pruda said, developed a great strategy for turning pieces flat. Virginia did. I thought I got to see. I'm assuming, are you meaning our Virginia? Virginia Martinez or Virginia Miller? There's another one. She's really good at needle binding too. What about tallow from animal fat? Would that work for your knob?
Well, basically any kind of fat or oil would work, but something clear is better than something that will be opaque.
Ah, that was the steel wool, by the way. There. And how are you liking your Belgian beer this morning? Pruda also linked Memer's well right up a little bit if you want to know about the story about the eyeball. I should read this a little bit. Okay. Question for Karl. Did Viking have scissors? I know this one. We always see neatly trimmed beards and hair in TV shows, but did they have anything better than a knife to cut hair?
Yes, they had scissors. The technology behind the scissors isn't really that complicated.
Turn it this way so I can keep working on my flat piece. Now, we know that there was a couple of different kind of scissors that were found, and some of them look very much like modern day scissors, or maybe scissors from the 70s, I should say. But you also have the ones that look like, just like that. It's like...
yeah, the sheep shearing.
The sheep shearing ones, yeah.
Scissors.
Nowadays, they've kind of come back into fashion, and they're made much smaller, and they're used for snippets on a sewing machine. Sorry, I've got to rock up my ass. That doesn't feel good. It was only a little one.
Would it feel good if it was bigger?
Ask Odin. Okay. There. Okay.
But they are now, they...
So there's at least 4 different that we find in the, at least ones that we can get for that we have in the store.
Yeah.
Oh, I just turned this. I pulled my
And
string.
also, shaving would be entirely possible for them if they wanted to. And there are depictions of people from the Viking Age that look to be like clean shaven.
Yeah.
So
We actually did find, well, at least we have access to some knives that are claimed to be from a Viking find, and they look a little bit like barber's knives, like a little circle with a blade. It's just like this little circle, and it looks like you would see like a barber has, except for the flip handle kind of thing, but switchblade handle or whatever you want to call it. But that could have been one, I'm guessing. I got a lot of growth going on in my wool
but
here.
also
Vegetation.
the design of the blade doesn't really matter so much for the purpose of shaving.
No.
What you need is something that is short and not too pointy.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that one's like that big.
Yeah.
Does size matter when it comes to scissors?
When
In
it
the
comes
Viking
to
Age?
shaving, even though it's strictly speaking possible to shave with the sword, and it is an ambition of mine to have my sword sharp enough to do that with, nobody would do that because it's nuts.
So many innuendos. Okay, so I turned this thing. Now we're going to look at it and see how it looks. I see I've got one loop sticking out, but I always have one loop sticking out a bit too much. Another rock up my ass. Okay. Let's see. Turning. Okay. So I turned it. This was the row that I'm working on now, but that's where the turn was. You can see I'm going to have a little issue there. And I see I've got one loop sticking out there. I could always go in and, whoops, you can't see a damn thing, can you? Now you can. Okay. So this is the end I was working on. This is where I turned. This is the direction I was going in. So I literally worked this way, flipped it, and then go this way. But you can see there's like a little stitch that kind of pokes out here. And there's one loop that kind of sticks out a little too far. I could try to figure out a different way, maybe if I took a different loop in that order. But all in all, it actually doesn't look too bad for a turn. One thing I don't like about it is it looks kind of like a V. So I did 3 loops to turn, 3 that were not attached before turning. I almost think I could, depending on how it straightens out, maybe it would work. I could almost have done 4, I think. If you don't get enough row height, it's going to look like an acute triangle, but you want, or an acute angle, but you want it to be more boxed. So maybe I would have done 1 more. But to be honest, I usually don't like the ends when they're like this. If you get too much of a loop at the end, you might have this little picot thing going, by the way. It's important, though, that if you make 3 stitches, then you're going to have to skip 3 stitches. And then when you do the next row, same thing. If you do 4 stitches loose, you're going to have to go 4 loops back before you do. Otherwise, you're going to be slowly increasing your work or decreasing your work, depending on how many you do there. But I still prefer to cut, because you will have these little ends that you'll just have to kind of tuck in, but they're not going to unravel because it's knitted. I mean, it's null bound, so they're just knots. But if you've seen that hood pattern that I have, it starts out as a cowl, and then later on you work on the other direction and make it a hood. The hood is basically a big tube, and then you cut it, and then I make a cord, which maybe just out of that I would probably do 2 rows, fold it in half like that, and then I just sew it. Well, actually, along the edge here to kind of hide the little rough edges. That I think is a lot easier and less dickish to try to get this to go straight. It does kind of look like an oslo stitch, except for you see there's a little extra twist in there. It's because that second loop is turned. I wish I had a... Oh, I do have an oslo one to show you. No, it's not an oslo, but this is a finished one. This, I think, is Momen, or maybe it is oslo. These are some socks I should be working on. I did F2. Yeah, I went under 2 loops, so this is Momen, I think. Let's see if I pull it out. And work through my last motion here. There, because it's 2 colors, it's easier to see, though, that... Get that one out of the way. That I went under 2, so I did an F2 connection, and then the yarn went under 2 behind with my thumb. So that would be before turning, so this is definitely Momen. Not Korgan. Korgan is F1, but Momen is F2, otherwise no difference. But you can kind of see there's a little extra twist. It would be easier if this was one color to see, but you can see like there's a little extra twist around here. And then the inverted side has a little bit more ridge, whereas the inverted Momen has a little ridge there too. But yeah, so it's a little bit, it's just that little twist that, so it's under the turning stitches, I believe, Arboga. Now I'm going to pick this out and continue making wrist warmers, because we don't waste yarn here. Okay. Oop. Look in the wonderful shoes. I think my mom got them at a wonderful little shop called the Tortoise and the Hare. Okay, we'll put you on me because Karl's doing contraband over there. But yes, so scissors. How far back do they go, though? Do you know? Do they go back further than the Viking Age?
I would think so, but I'm not sure.
Mm. By the way, the easier way to pick it out is if you hold your last, okay, this is going to be mirrored for you, but if you hold your last loop here and then pull it out, because that'll keep you from tightening the previous stitch.
It is something that I would presume that would have in antiquity, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah? All right, you can Google. I'm going to see what the chat says because there might be some more, and we'll take a look at this wonderful thing in front of us. I believe those are goat jaws. No, it's horse jaws, isn't it?
Oh,
and then
if I saw it go to that size, I would be...
run. And then Runa decorated it with little tufts of horsehair. But actually, these, maybe not quite in that decoration, but all these skulls, you can just find them out in the woods here. Because animals do die, and actually antlers is another thing you can find because a lot of them shed their antlers too, and they're just rotting away in the woods. So we have one guy who loves going hiking, and actually the guy that was on YouTube last week.
Well, that explains the goat skulls, but it doesn't really explain these.
No, those are a little bit different. I'll show the ones he was looking at, but I have to zoom in again. There we go. These ones are horse or cow?
Almost certainly cow.
And they seem to have a circular hole in their skull.
Yeah.
That is the quickest way to dispatch them for if their destination is for the table. But they're also split down in two. Is that because of the way they cut them before butchering or something?
What?
They're split down the middle.
No, that's how the skull is. This crack is how the skull grows together, basically.
Ah, okay. Yeah, all three of them are like that, so I was kind of wondering.
We have the same in our skulls.
Yeah.
Except we don't have it down the middle. We have like 3 plates that grow together on top.
Ah.
That's
Who
why
trepanned
babies
those
have
cows, says Peruda. That's a good question.
I don't know where this skull comes from.
No, there's a farm that has cows not too far away from here, up by where Runa is. They have lots of cows.
They don't slaughter them locally.
No.
That's done at the slaughterhouse.
Oh, okay.
And this is also, when people slaughter locally, they generally use the, in Norwegian it's called skytemaske.
The shooting mask?
Yes, it's a contraption with a 22 caliber bullet in it that you put on the head and then you strike it and the bullet goes into the brain. This is done with a pneumatic hammer.
Like the ones from, no, not the ones from, what is it? What is the American Gods? There was a scene where a guy had one. Something that you just...
Don't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, that's what you use in the slaughterhouse.
I haven't watched that one in a long time. Hey, somebody gave us money. Thank you. I think I know who that was. We had a little tip. I keep forgetting that we can do this monetarily now. Max says, I read about an interesting sandwich from Great Depression. Apparently, I heard about PB and mayo. I don't know how it tastes, but quite interesting. I know it sounds gross, but it's totally worth it. Peanut butter and mayo, you know, it could actually work. Peanut butter and jelly works, but actually mayonnaise, okay, so not very Viking any of this, but mayonnaise, I found out back in the days of high school when I was working at Burger King. That's right. I worked at Burger King for 3 years and actually 3 different restaurants because we had like, I think 5 in the area.
Because
and
you
they
kept getting fired?
Nope, because they always needed extra help and I was a workaholic, so I really haven't changed much in the day. So they would call up and say, hey, somebody is sick at our branch, can you come? And then I would go and fill in a bit. So anyway, but when you are eating nothing but Burger King food, so welcome to my weight gain and everybody else from the United States, you get kind of tired of having the same food all the time, but you know, that's what you got. We found out different ways to make the sauces. So there's like these little chicken dips they had, barbecue and some other ones. But if you took the barbecue sauce and you mixed it with mayonnaise, because we have mayonnaise in the north, we're so close to Canada. But if you mix it up and then we'd have our French fries with that, and it almost tastes a bit more like a ranch kind of barbecue.
So it
was really good. You can mix mayonnaise with everything; it tastes great.
The moral of the story is, when you get tired of Burger King food, just add mayo.
Just add mayonnaise. It could be a mayonnaise troll. No, but you found out what happens when you add mayonnaise to tuna fish.
Yeah, you get this...
Karl found out.
The Americans call it a salad.
Tuna salad sandwich.
Not a salad by any sensible definition of the word. It's just tuna fish and mayo.
Yep.
But it's really good on almost
It is
anything.
really, really good, especially on loaf. White bread. If you had added mayonnaise to hard-boiled eggs and mashed it up, you get egg salad. Sometimes you can add an onion to it, but I don't like the crunchy raw onions, so I don't.
Here in Europe, we think salad is healthy. In America, it's just add mayonnaise to whatever, and now it's a salad.
I have no idea why we're overweight over there. I'll have you know I got this body in Norway.
Correction, woman. I got this body in Norway.
He did. So, you know, apparently weight gain is a good thing. Eat a little mayonnaise and get yourself a Norwegian. By the way, I still haven't been to the dentist. I'm smiling and my redneck way is looking.
Well, I don't think anybody sees
No,
that.
I can know. Anyway, I still have to make it to the dentist. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. But yeah, so mayonnaise and peanut butter. I'm not willing to try that, but it could work. You never know.
I remember I told you about it. It was a guy on YouTube with his shorts who made
Oh, short, like short reels.
yeah, all sorts of recipes from the Great Depression and from the 50s and even
Yeah.
older. And he's basically doing experimental cooking with old recipes, and some of the recipes are very suspicious because it's from the Great Depression when people basically had nothing.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Actually, peanut butter might have been expensive as hell in those days, or depends on the part of the United States, I guess.
Yes,
I mean, they do
I would guess.
grow on trees, but
Peanut butter seems to be one thing that he uses a lot.
yeah.
And he is basically
Maybe,
just
yeah.
making this super quick jump cut thingy where he makes the cookies or whatever.
Peanut butter cookies are so good.
And it's interesting. I wanted to try some of his recipes, but we kind of went away from experimental cooking after the water chestnut, lever pate, and banana pizza.
With a lot of paprika powder on the bananas. Like, I went to buy bananas the other day in the store, and I said, "Carl, did you want a banana?" And he says, "Does it look like I want to make pizza today?" Only Carl. That was probably 2022, maybe 2020. Yeah, it was 2022. We were still over in the yellow house over there. We hadn't started renting this one yet. So it was tail end of COVID anyway that we had that we did that. We could actually do experimental pizza today because the pizza crust or whatever dough went on sale in the use by bin. Basically, it's going to go out of date, so I bought a bunch and threw it in the freezer.
That's the thing we could do to get some viewer
She could do some
involvement.
shorts. We gotta open up the membership thing. Damn it, we haven't done it yet, but that's because I'm too lazy.
No, but what I'm thinking is to get some viewer involvement. If somebody has a weird recipe that I want us to try.
No anchovies. Actually, it turns out I kind of liked anchovies.
I like anchovies.
I didn't think I did, but I did. I did.
And I put my honor on the fact that I'm a complete omnivore.
It's not my favorite thing.
I will eat everything. It's just some things are better than others, obviously, but there is nothing I will just go, nope, I can't stomach this.
But you kind of did. I offered you a banana and you wouldn't have it because you didn't have pizza to put it on. So you kind of rejected the...
I don't eat a lot.
banana of all things.
But you have seen me eat bananas.
No, but I kind of want to make a short of that. My mind is in the gutter from the beginning of this knob playing episode. Okay. But actually, it would be really kind of cool to see the depression or depressive recipes. Depression recipes. I would love to see those. We could try some of that. There's a lot of really cool, not for kids, there's a lot of really cool crafts that came out of the Depression time too. One of my favorite things that I have, and it needs to be repaired, was a quilt that my great-grandmother made. She came over from Poland. She and at least 4 siblings eventually, and a husband, which was my great-grandfather. They emigrated from Poland to southern Minnesota, and I'm the first generation born in the north. But one of the things she did is because she had 5 sons and a daughter. Daughter didn't make it past 7, but all these sons had suit coats because that's what they were wearing in the 30s. My grandfather was born in 25, for example, and he was the middle child of all of these kids. But they all had these suit coats and everything too. So what she would do is when they, first you pass them from kid to kid to kid, and when it becomes too worn out to pass it on to another kid, then she cut it up into squares, and she made. They're from Bloomington originally, but I'm from Duluth. So not too far from Egan, I guess, is where Bloomington is. But yeah, no, she cut squares and she made this wonderful quilt of it, and it was all made of old men's sports coats, or basically the ones that my uncles used to wear. And the problem is that when I was a teenager, that became an old blanket, and it wasn't cherished as much in those days, and it was my dog's blanket, apparently. The dog got at it, so it's been washed and everything, but I need to repair it. But that is not a simple job, but I actually did bring that to Norway with me, and I need to repair that. It is somewhere in a box because we're still looking for a place to move to permanently. Right now we're just temporary housing because there's no houses here to buy. But anyway, that was one of my favorite things, is the quilts. Really came through in those ages. Another one is penny rugs. If you haven't seen what those are, you should look them up. They're really quite cool. But a penny rug, you'd made these little circles out of your leftover fabric or wool, and you'd shrink it and felt it, and you'd get these little different shaped circles. One would be like the size of maybe a silver dollar in those days, the bigger ones, or the $50 anyway, and you get down to the penny size, and you would put these circles on top of each other, or just layer the fabrics and then blanket stitch around them, or somehow to each other, so you'd have all these little discs, and then you sew the discs together or onto another big piece, and you could even put pennies under. Usually you would use the penny as a size, but you could also insert the penny in it and use it as a weight to keep the rug down as well. But that was some. There's also dresses that were made out of flour sacks, because back in those days, you thought I said something completely different, didn't you?
No, I
Okay.
just remembered something from Norwegian history. In the Second World War, when saboteurs came to Norway, they usually was paradropped from England.
Yeah.
And the parachutes are made out of pure silk.
Oh, yeah.
So they were super
Parachute
valuable.
pants.
So, well, super valuable. According to Max Manus, they were very expensive. They cost 100 kroner.
And in the 80s, people made pants out of them.
Yes, but I'm not talking about the 40s.
Okay, fine.
So 100 kroner is quite a lot of money.
Yeah, no, it's a lot.
And if you are a sensible saboteur and you have come to Norway, you should get rid of your parachute. But it's very hard when any girl you meet would basically murder for that much silk. It's enough to make a wedding dress, basically.
That's a lot, yeah.
So
2, I'd say.
some Norwegian girls were married in parachute silk towards the end of the war.
That's quite cool to hear. I was going to say there was another thing that was also, I don't know if it came out of the Depression or it was just a really big thing, is the singladeballer. Yes. Singlade it's a type of Nalbinding. It's like simple looping, but the balls that Ed showed you, they almost look like little hacky sacks anyway, but you would use your old yarn or old little scraps of fabric, make a ball out of it, wind some old yarn around it until it became like the shape of a ball. And then you would wrap the yarn around and make a pattern, whether kind of like a square thing like that. That does use your imagination. Anyway, and then stitch these patterns in it. And you could do all kinds of little triangles, patterns, square patterns. You could even write your name in it, and that was a toy. It was made out of just leftover stuff.
Sounds like a Swedish thing.
It is a Swedish thing, singlade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then baller means balls.
I would understand. If you are Swedish and you only have one ball, you have all the reason in the world to be depressed.
Sometimes you make 2. It's hard to juggle one ball.
If you're Swedish, it's hard enough
Oh,
with one.
yeah, so if you haven't caught on, Sweden and Norway, it's a bit like Wisconsin and Minnesota. I mean, you get along, but you just can't admit
Yeah,
it.
no, there is a difference because Wisconsin, they're not stupid.
I apologize, Lucas, and everybody else on behalf of Karl, yet again, the whole nation of Sweden. By the way, it was Sweden that brought me to Norway, you idiot.
Yes. So as per usual, we get all the valuable stuff, Sweden.
Oh, there was a compliment in there somewhere. There was also, so my kid's grandfather, so my father-in-law, he, I think he's born around 1948 or something like that. So they also had some of the toys that he had to play with were kind of cool to see. His mother, who was the same age as my grandfather, so depression baby, I suppose. She, you have like the kind of a plastic type tablecloths that you have, so they're easy to wash down and everything. It's cloth, but it's got like a wax layer on the top anyway. But she had some of that, and she cut up and made little stuffed animals out of it. Unfortunately, one got lost, but there was one that was like a little shape of a puppy, and my own kids actually really liked playing with that. But they didn't realize that there was sentimental value to it, to my kids. Unfortunately, we lost it, so I have to make another one. But I like anyway the fact that toys were made out of things, old things that you had or whatever. And nowadays with the tariffs and everything, I suppose they're going to be doing that again. But where it's not. But recycling is a really huge thing anyway. But I kind of liked those toys more. And one of my kids and I, we made some toys with their old clothing. And then one of them, she called them, I forget which, they had a name for the dollies anyway, but they're just a little crazy. Sometimes they had like extra 2 heads, one many hair or whatever, but it was just some sort of a doll that they made out of their old clothes, which I liked a lot. I should find a picture of that. Jingly, yeah, her name was Jinglina because we put little bells on the end of these ponytails for her, and so she made a little, well, she was kind of like your staff there and went jingle jingle all the time. So they called her Jinglina.
Yeah, that's another thing I was planning to do with this stuff. I never gotten that far. I want a piece of brass here because I want people to hear me when I come walking with this stuff.
It's not making enough noise for you?
It's making a little bit of noise, but if this was hitting into metal instead of wood,
it would make more
noise.
So, okay, I showed him that you have, you have 2 weapons dancers on here. Okay, but what is this one here? I showed him earlier. So this is the weapons dancers. Of course, thought to be Odin. But this guy obviously didn't look like this when he was born because he's kind of got 2 knobs for arms.
Let me see what you're looking at.
Oops, my yarn is wrapped around your shaft.
It was this one.
Yeah.
I believe we sell it in the shop as Odin.
Is it Odin, yeah?
No, I wouldn't think so because I don't see any difference in the eyes.
No, that's the thing. I don't know. I think
That's the thing because whenever you find any kind of human representation from the Viking Age and you make a reproduction of it, you want to sell it. So you have to call it something. So if it looks vaguely feminine, you would call it a Valkyr. If it looks like a skinny man, you call it Odin.
Or Karl.
And that's probably not what it isn't necessarily what it was the original intent behind the
If it was
creation.
happy to see you, it would be Frey.
So, yeah, but Frey can't possibly have been the only guy with an erection in the Viking Age.
No, he's just on perma. He's a permanent one in everything.
So the famous Birka find.
Oh, welcome back to the gutter.
Where you have Frey with a sharp beard, kind of like mine, sitting in the lotus position like I'm doing right now, leaning a little bit forward with a pointy hat, and his beard almost touched the tip of his erection coming up. We think that might be Frey, but who knows? It could be basically anything.
Could have been Bob, the neighbor guy. That was a little creepy.
It could be straight up Viking porn. We don't know.
Okay,
That's the thing.
I gotta catch up on chat now, and then we can look the other way.
Because very rarely will the Vikings explain to you what something is.
Laugh out loud, it could be Bob. Okay, let's look this way while I stick my nose into chat here. Okay, there's a lot of chat I'm missing. Not for kids. Yep, don't remember that one. Prudence got a bunch of emojis that look kind of like this. Man says Karen. It was bad. I can't help it. It's Wilf Seisenhut, if I said that right anyway, was the one that was wondering. That's a new name. Welcome. He says, we're in southern Minnesota. Yeah, so I'm originally from Duluth, Minnesota. I moved here on my 25th birthday, and now it's been 27 years in Norway. But my family is from Bloomington. They came in from Poland.
You know what suddenly occurred to me?
What?
It's been too long since we've had any kind of shellfish.
No, we have a lot of crab in the freezer, though.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you going to do with shell? You're going to make another gumbo?
Gumbo, crab cakes, something. Yeah. We should use it for something.
Okay, we have to, but we're going to have to rely on the southern half of the United States or somebody who has crab as a normal part of their diet to tell us what to do with it, because I come from Duluth. We don't have that kind of crabs. No shellfish.
You don't have that kind of crabs?
I don't know if we have any crabs, actually. Do we have, is there a freshwater crab?
Well, you probably have at least a communicable disease by that name.
Okay. Oh my God, I gotta fix that tooth. Okay, I gotta go. We need help! Not just with recipes. Okay, I gotta keep, oh, look at all the fun stuff that's, okay, my dad was born just after World War II and grew up on rationing when he went into the cadets and got the same military rations his dad got in the war. That's from Albert.
Yep.
Max says, I'm not sure if you're undoing the stitch or not. I was undoing the stitch in the end, yeah.
They were still using World War II rations.
Oh, when I turned this thing? No, it's a knot. It won't undo it.
They were still using World War II rations in Desert Storm because they made so many of it and it lost so much of it and it lasts practically forever.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's the American military rations are called MREs.
Yeah.
Meals ready to eat.
Yeah.
But they were tasting so horrible during Desert Storm that the American GIs called it meals rejected by Ethiopians.
Nolvia's here, by the way. She said I got here at an interesting time. Oh yeah, no, it's been an interesting day. I think I've been in the office too long. This is what happens when you let me out. I don't know. It all started when Karl said he was going to polish his knob on YouTube. And it's a very shiny knob now. He literally did polish his knob on YouTube. You missed it. You'll have to go back. I don't know what in the hell. We're bad today. Okay. By the way, Max was also suggesting maybe one of these days we try the Nashulta stitch. That one I can show you real quick actually because it's related to the one we're doing now. Arboga. It's also a turning one. So with Nashulta, you have to go even lower. Nashulta, you're doing 5 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But they will line up better if you're doing that stitch the whole time. But that one is 1 turn the second loop. And then instead of going over just 1 or picking up just 1, you're also picking up a total of 3, I believe, before going back. So it's going to be a super dense stitch, by the way. But this one, we're just turning loop and picking up 1 before going back. If that helps you a little bit, gives you a sneak peek on Nashulta. That's got a Swedish name, I believe. Let's see. That's the second pit house, by the way. That's the first one. That's where Nolvi and Roger are going to live one day. PG says, I wrote the end of the first draft of my current book a couple of days ago. I did use the dragon name that people here up here invent. She is Sklajur, if I'm saying that right. Sklajur. Depends where my accent is. Question for Karl. Roger says, did Viking have a stealth weapon like a walking cane that hides a cane sword in the cane sheath?
No, not as far as I know. But you could to some extent say that this is a stealth weapon in and of itself. Because it's a walking cane. But the head is made out of pure bronze. So it's pretty heavy. And notice Odin's extreme rockabilly 50s hairdo. And now imagine this being swung at full force against you.
Yeah.
So I kind of suspect the Vikings are not supposed to have maces. But I kind of suspect that this is actually a mace head.
It could be.
It's a walking stick, but
look how polished it is.
getting this point hit at full force with the leverage you get from a staff this long into your body, even if you're wearing chainmail, it might still break bones.
It could do, say, that to your head.
Yes, yeah, I could absolutely crush an unprotected skull.
I hit the gimbal button, so now we're going for a ride. Hope you took your seasick pills. I have to turn it off and on again. There we go, and we're back.
Are you filming the sky or your crotch?
Nope, I just hit the gimbal button. Get the thing away from me, that stinks. No, I hit the gimbal button. It just decided it wanted to look up at the sky for a little bit, so nose hairs better be trimmed. Okay. I have to catch some more. You get a gold medal for that one, Karl. Said, from Roger, by the way. Raymond, send help! We need to send paratroopers in with rations, dental tools, and silk parachutes. He's not kidding. Look at that. That's what happens when you have fillings from the 80s. They start to expand over, and about 30 years later, they kind of like your tooth doesn't take it anymore and cracks. Robert said, has Karl joined a Morris dancing group? Have you joined a Morris dancing group?
No.
Okay, Google. He has to Google. We'll look at this way while he Googles. Beautiful weather today. PJ's dad used to make us dolls out of handkerchiefs. My dad did that too. I forgot all about those things. Oh, that's so fun. There's also dolls made out of corn husks, for example, too, which is a thing. A lot of art came out of the Depression time. They got so very creative. Braided rugs. also, for example. I don't know if they came out of the Depression, but they definitely were very well utilized. PJ says, both my parents grew up with rationing too. Mom says that she thoroughly upset her parents when they gave her an expensive banana for the first time and she hated the taste. Karl seems very happy with that story.
Yeah,
If
no.
she put it on pizza though and a little bit of mayonnaise, it would have been mayonnaise and bananas, can you imagine? Okay. Let's see, keep looking back here to catch some more. Amaro says, I have okay, I'm not going to read cookbook. It is a cookbook from my grandmother just after the war. There are things in there that make me turn green. I kind of want to see some of these recipes and then see if Karl will eat them.
I probably will.
But it has to be a cookbook, not a cookbook. There was a typo.
Yes.
I had to make it fun of it. I have to. I'm a horrible person. By the way, speaking of mayonnaise, Holger should be here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep, if you haven't met Holger, Holger is our German guide who is the originator of the mayonnaise troll story, and the whole reason we can't pronounce mayonnaise in Norway, or in Gudvangen anyway. It's not called mayonnaise in Norway, it's called mayonnaise, and you have to say it like that.
The Holger is a very interesting character.
Yeah, he is.
I think he can go through a whole day without using more than 5 sentences. Yes, 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 it's hard to be a Viking.
Yep.
Bloody tourists, bloody children, bloody dog, and I am a man of results.
I am a man
He
of
can
results.
go through a whole day and only say that. I'm sure about it.
Yep, but you know what the anti-Holger? Yeah, so go ahead.
Also,
Yeah?
Holger is the one guy that if he says that I am wrong about something, I won't even bother to Google it. I will
I
just
being Karl
bow
is
my
wrong.
head and go, okay.
Yeah.
It is very, very rare for me to admit that I am not the most knowledgeable guy in the room. But if Holger is in the room, my hat is off and I'm sitting in the corner making notes.
I also noticed that you're ready for the return of Holger because we already got your necklace out that has a little drinking jug attached to it.
Yeah.
It's like a shot. It's a little jug the size of a shot glass, but it's just.
It's another thing that Holger does that is kind of charming and also kind of impressive. Because every time he comes to Gudvangen, he basically has a system planned for how often people are coming from Germany to Norway, and every one of them brings him a bottle of whiskey. So he has already planned how much tax-free whiskey he's going to drink this summer.
No, yeah, he will. And if we bring, we have to bring him a bottle too every time as well, and that doesn't last very long.
Yeah, no, it is sharing a bottle of whiskey with Holger is better than taking university levels on older history.
This is a
Because you have to get him
message from Karl of all people, by the way. Yeah.
You have to get Holger to stop saying his 5 favorite sentences and actually start talking about Viking Age.
You can ask about the mayonnaise troll too.
And to do that, you have to give him whiskey.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not wasting any time on the mayonnaise troll. I was sharing a bottle of whiskey with Holger once, and I pretty quickly picked up on the fact that Holger knows much more about the Viking Age than I do. So I thought, okay, I have to switch topics so I can have something to impress him with. So I started talking about the Romans, and Holger knows everything. So I think, okay, this is a wild card, but let's try the American Civil War. Maybe he doesn't know anything about that. And I start talking about some battle somewhere. And I said, then General Grant did this. And Holger says, I think if you look into it, you'll find out that General Grant was further north at the time. You are talking about General Meade. And I go, holy fuck.
Not for kids.
When it comes to history, you absolutely should not cross blades with Holger. He knows it.
See if I can catch some more here. Pizza hadn't been discovered back then. No, these are the things we don't make in the village. This is what we do in the winter when there is none. Oh, there, see, Luli's coming, is moving in over there now that it's after hours. She can be modern. She's packing in her tent over there. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, she just arrived a couple days ago. Dorota and Piotr are also here. I have to go say hi to them later. They're down at the far end. We'll look at them next week. They're going to be here for most of the summer, actually, and quite into the fall. So that'll be.
And then we can also test Karin on the self-service spear throwing station we have right behind us.
Yay! Oh God, I suck at that. But you got to get something with a little bit more heavier in the front, top heavy. That thing is so light and it just falls backwards.
Yeah, you have to hold it at the point of balance.
Yeah, demonstrate with your shaft and wand over there, your knob.
No.
Why am I having problems throwing that thing?
You are having problems
'Cause
throwing
its
it
spear looks like
because
this
you're
and it's-
holding it up here.
Yeah, but also the way they kind of have like this soft pillow with the linen around it, and it's just a stick. It's not an actual
It's
spear.
meant to be self-service, so
So
we
people
can't
can't
give
kill
the
themselves.
tourists sharp spears because then we have to have a man there watching them.
Like a walking stick weapon, yeah.
But the mistake Karin is making is that she is holding it way too far forward.
yeah.
So when she is throwing, it kind of goes like this through the air.
I was holding it in the middle, thank you very much. But it still might be too...
In the middle is not the point of balance.
No.
You should hold it right at the point of balance here. Then it will go pretty straight when you throw it
And
directly.
why is the real reason you want me to do this on YouTube?
I want to get redemption from you, the last spear throwing incident with you on YouTube.
I mean, where I was the only one that landed a javelin and I did it on my first try and you and Runa were failing miserably.
Yes. But still, even if you can't throw the fake javelins, you are still better than me and Rune with the real ones. And I
Yeah.
would say that counts for more than the fake ones.
Yay! Points for me. Let's see, some more chat here. What does it mean? Shillalog? Is that like an Irish thing or something? Somebody wrote something about that, I think. Oh, Albert wants to make some shillalog. They are quite easy to do. It's S-H-I-L-L-E and then L-A-G-H. So I might be mispronouncing that something fierce. Do you know what that is?
No idea. Sounds
Max was wondering what that was too. It sounds like an Irish thing or something. I don't know. And then Pruda found a link, which I can't open up for Wikipedia, but others in the chat can. It's a walking stick with a large knob at the top. Carl, this looks like something for you.
I know what this is.
Yeah?
What's it called?
It's like a cudgel or a war club.
We are pronouncing it wrong.
Huh?
But I don't remember the exact.
Shillelagh. Shillelagh says. PJ.
Shillelagh?
Shillelagh. Okay, so
Yeah.
Australia and England are not quite at. And then Shillelagh. Yeah, everybody's got a different
It's
pronunciation.
basically an Irish weapon.
Uh-huh.
To the point where why the Irish are not exactly independent from the English should be pretty clear because I think a root is a weapon.
PJ says my Irish ancestors are turning in their graves.
It's kind of like a stick
That is my favorite clip, the spear incident, says Robert.
that you can use as a walking stick, but you also, if you smack somebody with it, they will definitely feel it.
Yeah.
It usually has like a big bulb on one end,
Yeah.
and then it tapers off to be pretty thin on the bottom part.
A little bit like a club, or
It's a club. It's
Okay.
straight up a club.
did we see
That's what
something
it
like
is.
this at the armory, the Royal Armories in Leeds?
No,
No.
because the Royal Armory in Leeds know what a weapon is, unlike the Irish.
Oh, now you're gonna insult the Irish people. Shame on you.
It's a stick.
Think shillelagh. Ah,
Shillelagh, yeah.
shillelagh. Okay.
It's a stick. It's just a stick.
By the way, Carl hasn't. I don't know. Carl would even make fun of the Norwegians. Actually, you have.
Yes. But every type of Norwegian, except from the people from a particular part of Ytre Nordfjord.
Outer Northfjord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would never make fun of the people from Selje.
Oh, it's crackling up there.
But
I
I
can hear
will
like one
happily
rock
make
falling.
fun of people that live in the outskirts of Selje kommune.
Yeah. I just keep. It's like one rock is like it came down the waterfall, and you could just hear it go bang, bang, bang. But that was it.
Yeah, but you hear that all the time.
Yeah, and by the time you hear it,
like
it's already on the ground.
constant background noise.
Yeah. By the way, do you remember how high up that is? It's somewhere. It goes much higher, obviously. As you.
Don't know that one.
No,
I believe that one is 1200.
Oh, sorry. That much? Well, I thought that was like 13 to 14. That top.
Yeah, but it's Georg numbers that keep
Oh, they're Georg.
expanding.
our chieftain, you know the story of how big is the fish, with our chieftain, it gets bigger every year, and all the measurements get more and more impressive every year. But I thought it was somewhere between. I thought it was like almost 1,400 meters up that way, and almost 1,600 up to that point way up there. But
I think the top of the mountains is something like that, but if we are not seeing the tops from down here.
No.
We are seeing the parts we are seeing.
Yeah, and that was all mirrored, by the way. It's good until until the 25th this month. Oh, wait. Max says, I can't believe my mayo smells like a big fart in my fridge. And Albert says, Max, I think that's gone bad. And Max says, well, it's good until around the 25th of the month. It's a mile high. You're right, Raymond. He knows how to do Georg numbers. Well, you'll see. Raymond's coming in August, by the way. And he's going to do the archery, etc. And I was telling him, and I said, be careful now, because he sent me some pictures of some really good target shooting. And I said, be careful, we'll make you in charge of an archery contest this summer. And he says, well, actually, I would do that. I'm like, okay.
I
So we have to have
actually
some archery
regained
contests.
a little bit of my fight in humanity.
Yeah?
But sometime between 4 and 5 today, I was on archery.
Yeah?
And I've said before, under the headline of insulting people, I've said before that nothing in the universe shoots worse than an Arab woman getting help from her husband on how to shoot.
They're usually better without the help.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are, because they listen. But they also listen more to their husbands than they listen to me. And their husbands have no idea what they're doing most of the time.
And now we're insulting. Okay.
Arabs, yes. But I had an Arab couple
Yeah.
where he didn't speak much English, but he actually paid attention to what I was doing.
Yeah.
And he shot. The target is now kind of fluffy in the middle,
Okay.
so the arrows go straight through.
Yeah.
And his first arrow goes straight through the target, and then he's really happy with himself.
Yeah.
And then he instructs his wife, and I'm going,
Yeah.
this is probably going to suck.
And?
But he actually taught her correctly.
Ah.
Without understanding what I said, but just by copying what I did,
Yeah.
and then getting her to copy what I did,
Yeah.
he actually managed it.
Ah.
And that's the first time I've ever seen an Arab actually paying attention.
Okay, Karl. You're going too far. By the way, is that the home target that is getting...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we need to order a new one again, because I think that's the only home target we have.
Yeah, I'll have Roger have a look at it on Monday.
Albert says, okay, so Raymond says it's a mile high, and then Albert jumps right on in. I think everyone's having a beer with you today, Karl, except for Torben. He's pouring gin. He says, so does that mean you could join the Mile High Club on the top of that mountain?
I'm not sure. I think you have to be not connected to the ground for that one.
We'll have to ask the base jumpers. They like to jump from up there. There's a way to get up there anyway, but driving all the way
I
around.
don't know if their tandem shoots are intimate enough to actually join the Mile High Club.
Maybe, you never know. Pruda says, if I make it to Gudvangen this summer, I'll organize a beauty contest for men's feet. Oh, I'm game for that, Karl. Are you going to join?
No.
You probably shouldn't. Okay, you'll lose. At least I'll be able to identify him quite quickly. Shillelaghs may be hollowed at the heavy hitting end and filled with molten lead to increase the weight. This sort of shillelagh is known as loaded stick, says Nolvia. She got that from Wiki.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, oh my God. Okay, they're sounding a little bit more dangerous as
But
we go on.
it's still slightly heavier than usual to stick. I don't accept this as a weapon.
Prude is going to come at the end of July, I believe, Audra. Robert said the tops around you are at least 1,450 meters, which is 100 meters higher than Ben Nevis, the tallest mountain in the UK. The thing is, they go higher backwards, actually, as well. For example, this wonderful waterfalls that we have, these wonderful waterfalls coming up here, there's lakes and such further up, but they're obviously higher because it's coming down.
But you've seen the UK, they have nothing like this.
We actually were very fortunate to see different parts when we drove through. I didn't realize it, or we drove through. We took a train from London to Leeds to Swindon, and then back to London again. So we actually got to see quite different. The way to London, it almost looked like Iowa. It was just flat, nothing. But on the way to Swindon, then you started to see some hills and things.
That looks like
I was kind of surprised.
Pat the postman.
We didn't see Postman Pat.
No, but it looks like that type of terrain.
But then we got to Ashbury. Holy crap, is that beautiful. But you know what? Actually, we're at minute 80, which means our ride is probably looking for us. So we bribed Isak or Pavel, actually. His name is Isak and Pavel at the same time. We call him Isak anyway, but we bribed him.
We are recycling names around here.
We're recycling names, yes. We have 2 Pavels, so we can't have that. But
Yeah.
Isak hasn't been here in a while, so we got a new Isak. And decided that Pavel could be called Isak.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Yeah. We got and we have, what is it? There was 2 Luises. Now there's only 1. Then there were 2 Anderses. And then there was 2 Isaks, 2 Pavels.
And we are now on our second Anna.
3 Ligas if you count Freeman. Yeah. And we're on our second Anna, yeah?
Yeah.
And then even the name Tamara. We had one for online guiding and we have one in the shop. Yep.
No, it's...
Those are all the flat bits, says Robert. Yeah, we didn't go far enough. We didn't make it to Glasgow. They hurt like an MF. Karl, my dad has one and I've tried it. It hurts. Why did you try that? That's what I want to know.
Tried what?
The Schlele.
Okay. If people think that Irish sticks are actual weapons, then come here and have a stick fighting with me. I'll use this and you use your Irish stick.
Karl is threatening you with his knob, so that means we should probably go. No, we do gotta go because they don't know where we are. We're up on top in the village and they're probably all down there. So we will see you next week, Saturday, same time, 6:30, Norway time, with or without Karl's knob. We'll still be working on the Arboga Stitch. Maybe I'll get a little bit more.
I'll still probably, most likely, have my knob in a week.
How's that Belgian beer? Did you drink both?
No.
Oh,
just
good.
no.
I was gonna say. Okay, we will see you next time. Thank you so much for playing with us. And God, I hope your kids weren't watching. Okay, have a great weekend. Bye.